Alright, so in this video I'm going to be going over graphing and writing inequalities. The whole chapter is about inequalities, and in each section break I'll give you guys a chance to pause the video and work on the practice problems, and then I'll move on to the next day. So, first we need to learn what inequalities are. It's a mathematical statement that it compares two expressions. So typically one side will be larger than the other, kind of like a scale. So, when we're graphing these are going to be graphed by an open circle, and the symbol that means greater than is the one that looks like this. The one that means less than is the one that looks like this. Then we can also have inequality statements that means greater than or equal to. That means the solution can be the number you're saying. And then the other one is less than or equal to. They get the line underneath because the equal sign has two lines, and so it takes a piece of that. Okay. On number 1, it wants me to write the following sentences as inequalities. So it says a number w, minus means subtract, 3.5 is less than or equal to, so it gets the line underneath, negative 2. B says 3 less than a number, 3 is less than a number. So I use the less than symbol, but it doesn't get the equals to because it doesn't say or equal to. And that says a number n plus 5. C says 0 is greater than or equal to. That faces the opposite direction, and then because it's equal to, it gets the line underneath. Twice a number x means 2 times x, and then plus 1. On number 2, it wants me to tell whether negative 4 is the solution. So this means I'm going to plug in negative 4 for x. So instead of writing x, I'm going to write negative 4 plus 8 is less than negative 3. I'm going to move this up. Okay. Then I'm going to solve it to see if it's true. Negative 4 plus 8 is 4. I have 4 is less than negative 3. This is not true. So it's not a solution. Okay, same thing for B. I'm going to plug it in over here. And then I don't know what negative 4.5 times negative 4 is, so I'm going to use my calculator. Negative 4.5 times negative 4 gives me positive 18. Now, notice the 18 is positive and the 21 is negative. Because the 18 is positive, positive numbers are always greater than negative numbers. So this one is the solution. So then this wants me to graph this inequality. I can start my numbering wherever I want, but before I even get to graphing, this top part of it means the arrow goes to the left. Okay. And then the bottom piece with the line underneath means when I graph it, it's going to be a solid circle. So I'm going to go ahead and number my label. Number my number line. Label my number line. I'm going to put negative 3 in the middle. Remember, with negative numbers, they work backwards, so the more right I go, the more smaller they are. And then I'll put that there just to show. So it's going to get a solid circle, and it's going to go to the left. We have 2 more to practice for this one. Okay. So I want to first start off by rewriting so x is on the left. So when I do that, the symbol still stays like it's eating the x. It just switches around. Okay. On this one, when I go, I'm going to do my numbers. So I have 1, 2, 3. And open to the right. And then this is an open circle because there's no underline. Same thing with C. I'm just going to go ahead and graph it. So I have negative 1, 0, 1. If it's an open circle, no line underneath. Goes right because the symbol goes right. Okay. What I want you guys to do is take a few minutes, pause the video and work on 4 and 5, and then I will move it up and work on 6. And then I am going to continue on with 2.2. So 2.2, I'm still working with inequalities, but now I need to solve them. So what I want to do here is I will just solve it like I was solving linear equations in chapter 1. I'm going to start off by adding 6 to both sides. I get x is greater than or equal to negative 4. So I'm going to go ahead and number my number line. I'm going to put a solid circle because it's got the line underneath, and then it goes to the right because the symbol kind of looks like an arrowhead going to the right. Same thing with number 2. I'm going to go ahead and add 3 to both sides. I get m is less than or equal to 8. Put my number line on here. It gets a solid circle, and then it goes to the left. Number 3, I'm going to subtract 8 on both sides. I get y is less than or equal to negative 3. Put my numbers on my number line. And then it's going to get a solid circle, because there's a line on it. I did not mean for all of these to be equal to. And then it goes to the left, because the arrow goes to the left. Number 4. I'm going to subtract 1.4. It's going to give me negative 9.4 is less than m. I want to go ahead and flip it around, so I have m is greater than negative 9.4. On this one, my number line doesn't need to be as exact. I'm going to skip every other one since I have decimals. I couldn't mix it further, right? And I'm going to put an open circle. And this one goes to the right because I had to flip it around. Okay. So here's the 4 practice problems for this one. Take a few minutes, pause the video, solve them, and then I am going to continue on to 2.3, which is multiplying and dividing to solve inequalities. Okay. So when I'm solving inequalities using multiplication and division, it's kind of like solving equations. Like solving. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. I get x on the left. The 8's will cancel out because remember fractions are secretly division, and the opposite of division is multiplying. Then on the right I have 5 times 8, which is 40. So I'm going to go ahead and number my number line. Open circle to the right. Same thing on number 2. Gonna divide by 3 on both sides to get rid of that x. I get negative 8 is less than or equal to x. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it around so x is on the left side. And I get x is less than or equal to negative 8. Solid circle because it's equal to, and then it goes to the left. Now, there's one tricky thing that happens when I'm multiplying and dividing, and I'm using a negative number. It's going to change the direction the sign faces. So if I take a look at number 3, it's got a negative 3 on the bottom. So that means I'm going to have to multiply both sides by negative 3. So I get negative 6. I am changing the direction the sign faces. Why did I multiply by, wow. That was right. What am I thinking? I get negative 6 is greater than y. And the sign changed directions because I multiplied by a negative. Then I want to go ahead and rewrite it so my variable is on the left side. So I have y is less than negative 6. 6, negative 5. Open circle to the left because of the direction the arrow is facing. So the same thing on number 4. I'm going to divide by -7. 7's cancel out. I get x on the left. The sign switches. And then I have 5. So I'm going to go to my number line. Solid circle on 5 goes to the right. Okay. Pause, take a few minutes to work on the 2 practice ones on the bottom, and then I'm going to briefly show you the 2 practice ones on the back, and then I will continue on to 2.4. So again, pause, solve these 2, and then I will meet you at 2.4. So 2.4 is solving multi-step inequalities. So basically, like solving multi-step equations. I'm going to start off by subtracting 7 on both sides. So I get y over -6 is less than 2, because 9 minus 7 is 2. Then I'm going to multiply both sides by -6, because the opposite of division is multiplication, and fractions are division. So the -6's on the left cancel out. I have y is less than -12. I forgot to switch my sign. I multiplied by a negative, so the sign should have changed directions. So I'm going to go ahead and number my number line. Open circle to the right. Same thing with number 2. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So I get 2v is greater than or equal to 12. Divide both sides by 2. b equal, nope, it's not equals, greater than or equal to 6. So I go ahead, put my numbers on the number line. Solid circle because it's equal to, right because of the direction of the okay. If I take a look at number 3, I notice I have variables on both sides, so I want to start off by getting my variables on the same side. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to just move the 2x because it's smaller, but you can move the 6x if you want. So I subtract 2x on both sides, gives me 4x on the left, the -5 stays the same, and the -11 stays the same. Then I'm going to add my 5 over to get the x by itself. So I have 4x is less than -6. I divide by 4, and I get x is less than, I cannot divide 6 by 4. So what I actually want to do here is I just want to simplify. Both of these are even, so I'm going to divide by 2 on the top and bottom. -6 divided by 2 is -3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So then I'm going to put my number line. I have -3 halves, -4 halves, and -2 halves. Okay, open circle to the left. And these 2 I could have written as -2 and -3. Okay, I'm going to show you the practice problems on the back, and then there. Pause, solve. I'm going to move on to 2.85, and then I will see you there. So the next thing we have are compound inequalities. These are where I either have a bar in between or 2 arrows facing upright. Compound inequalities are signaled by the words and or the word or. So number 1 wants me to write an inequality from the number sentence. So I have number x is greater than -8 and less than -4, or less than or equal to greater than 4. So what I'm going to do, the word and, this means the x goes in the middle. Then I'm going to put the numbers based on where they are. The smaller one always goes on the left. I have the -8 there and the 4 here. Then I just need to figure out which signs go with which numbers. X is greater than or equal to 8, so that gets line underneath. And less than or equal to 4 also gets it. It was just greater than, not greater than or equal to. So then I'm going to go ahead and write my numbers on the number line. And one thing that I forgot to point out, when I'm doing an AND inequality, they're always less than symbols, both sides. So because x is in the middle, it means the line's going to go in between. Negative 8. I did not want a solid circle on negative 8. I just want an open circle. So then I'm going to go ahead and draw a line in between the two points. On number 2, it says a number y is at most 0 or at least 2. It says or. This means two separate inequalities. So a number y is at most 0, so that means it is less than or equal to 0, or y is greater than or equal to 2. Because it says or, this means the lines point away from each other. They both get solid circles because they're both equal to, and then I make them equal. Okay. I kind of solve compound inequalities just like I would solve a linear equation, except I have to, whatever I do to one piece, I have to do to all three pieces. So on number 3, I'm going to start off by adding 2 to all three pieces. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add 2 to the left side, 2 to the middle, 2 to the right. I get negative 2 on the left, the x is all alone in the middle, and then I get 5 on the right. So I'm going to go ahead and number my number line. Open circles for both of them, and because the x is in the middle, line goes in the middle. So number 4, I'm going to start off. I'm going to subtract 1 on the left, the middle, and the right. I get negative 4 is less than negative 2x is less than or equal to 8. Then I'm going to divide by negative 2. I'm dividing by a negative, so my inequality symbols are going to switch. So I have 2 is greater than x is greater than or equal to negative 4. Then I want to rewrite this so the smallest number is on the left. So I have negative 4 is less than or equal to x is less than 2. I'm going to go ahead and number my number line. Negative 4 gets a solid circle, 2 gets an open circle, and these ones are connected. Then I'm going to move on to one more practice on the back for me, and then you'll have your practice problems in the morning. So this one is an OR inequality, and it wants me to solve. So I am just going to solve them as 2 separate inequalities. So I'm just going to start off by drawing a line in the middle and treating them like they're 2. Why did I circle the 8? I meant the OR. So I'm going to solve them like they're two separate equations. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. I have 3y is less than negative 3. I divide by 3. I get y is less than negative 1. Moving on to the right, I'm going to add 1 to both sides. I get 2y is greater than 6. I divide by 2. I have y is greater than 3. And I'm going to go ahead and plot those points on the graph. I have open circles for both, and because it's OR, they point out. That was a bad one. Okay. So take a few minutes, work on. Oh, that's not even close. Pause the video, work on these 5 problems, and then meet me on 2.6, which is the last section of this chapter. Okay. So when we're solving in absolute inequalities with absolute values, we need to pay attention to the signs they have. When it has the less than sign, it's going to turn into the and situation. When it has the greater than sign, it's going to turn into the or situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the inequality and I'm going to split it into 2 pieces. I have the absolute value of x plus 7 is less than 2. So I'm going to write x plus 7 is less than or equal to 2, like normal. And then I'm going to go ahead and add x plus 7. I'm going to flip the sign when I do my negative answer for my absolute values because it's kind of like dividing like a negative. And when we do that, we always flip our sign. So I'm going to go ahead and solve. On the first one, I subtract 7 on both sides. I get x is less than or equal to negative 5. On the second one, I subtract 7. And I get x is greater than or equal to negative 9. So I'm going to go ahead and plot these. Negative 9, negative 8. They both get solid circles. When I'm working with inequalities, they will always both have the same symbol. And then I am less than negative 5 and more than negative 9. So when I go to draw those 2 lines, they actually kind of overlap, and it's in between. So when I rewrite this, it's negative 9 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to negative 5. Okay. On number 2, absolute values cannot be less than 0. So this means this one has no solution. Because if it was less than 0, it would make it negative. And absolute values, remember, always give you positive answers. No solution. Okay. Moving on, I have number 3. I'm going to split into 2. I have c minus 1 is greater than or equal to 5. C minus 1 is less than or equal to negative 5. So the first one, I add 1 to both sides. I have c is greater than or equal to 6. The second one, I said no, add 1 to both sides. I have c is less than or equal to, can't add today, negative 5 plus 1 is negative. I already have the negative written. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and graph these on here. They both get solid circles. However, greater than positive 6, less than negative 4. So I'm going to just go ahead and write or in between my 2 answers, and that's done. Okay. On number 4, if I take a look at it, I see I have a lot going on. I have a number multiplied by the outside and a number added at the end. I have to get the absolute value by itself before I can split it into 2. Okay, so I'm going to start by just trying to get the absolute value piece alone. I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. I have 4, absolute value 2x minus 5 is greater than 20. Then I divide both sides by 4. The 4 does not divide the absolute value because I'm treating the absolute value like a variable, so it can't change. Then I have 2x minus 5, the absolute value of it is greater than 5. So from here, I'm going to split it into my 2 inequalities. I have 2x minus 5 is greater than 5. 2x minus 5 is less than or equal to negative 5. Nope, it had no equal to part. So part missing for 5. Let me get this one without any mistakes. Okay, first one. Start off, I add 5 to both sides. I have 2x is greater than 10. Divide by 2 on both sides. X is greater than 5. On the second one, I add 5 to both sides. 2x is less than 0. Divide by 2. X is less than 0. I'm going to go ahead and graph this. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 goes to the right, and the 0 goes to the left, so this one is an OR. I'm going to flip over, give you a moment to pause and work on the practice problems on the back, and then you're done and ready to go study for the test.